with our host today, Fred Pira. Fred, the CEO of Pronex. I'm glad to have you on, and we've had a lot of great conversations with your great team, but we're going to learn more about Pronex again. You were on my show. Now you have your own podcast. Fred, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Neil. It's great. Let me just say this on the onset. I'm so glad that I met you because, as we move into the digital landscape of selling and content is king, you got to have the right people that you're aligned with in the team, whether it's insourced or outsourced. And I'm so happy that I found that I started up a relationship with you because you make it really easy. All I got to do is suit up, show up, and then be able to go ahead and have content develop and then get it out to people who are looking to solve their problems with the solutions that we already have.
110%. And I love that. That was such a great commercial, but I'm not used to promoting myself because I always like to provide the great interview. Why did you start Pronex? I know some of this is repetitive from our who listened to all my podcasts, but ultimately, why did you start Pronex? And we're going to go into three different areas that which we covered in each individual podcast, but get you take as the founder and CEO where you see Pronex going.
Sure. So I've been in technology for 3 decades, and I was working for a software company at one point, making a lot of money. And I was so happy, and I said, this is where I'm going to hang my career, and whatever happens from here, I'm the happiest person in the world. I hit a home run. I during that time had gone to a doctor because I was working out a lot and I just wasn't feeling right. I felt very fatigued all the time and seeing a lot of results. At the time I was much younger and I was buffed and really in good shape, but I wasn't feeling well. So, make a long story short, I went to see him, and he suggested we do blood work, and I discovered that I was insulin resistant. Better than 2 decades ago, I had no clue what that was. So I sat down with his dietitian. She gave me instructions, gave me homework sheets, and mounted to a stack of paper, faxing, calling, meeting with her. And I realized, I said, whoa, wait a minute. We sell software that, as a company, as a corporation, and I'm the enterprise rep. I said, we sell software that tracks a bunch of stuff. Why can't I put that in some kind of software? And I called my systems engineer into my office and I said, hey, Norman, can you help me track all this? I said, because it's very cumbersome and very difficult. And he said, sure. And he looked for something, and he came back. He said, oh, there's a lot of applications that do this, and I said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I said, I got up, and this was a serendipitous moment for me. Now, think about it. This is over 2 decades ago. I got up, went to my chalkboard, and I drew a circle, and I put myself in the middle of it. And I said, Norman, here's what I want to do. I want to connect directly to this doctor, to this dietitian. And then all of a sudden, I started to see this vision emerge where I could be the patient in the center of this circle and be connected to all of these individuals that are part of my healthcare team. And when we realized that there was nothing out there that was like that, that's when I started to pre-sell a vision. And I got lucky. My fourth phone call, I landed on the Society of Certified Nutritionists. They said, I'm very interested, can come down and see us. And the rest is history. That's how we started our development. So I actually sold the vision first and didn't have any software, and then went ahead and built it and then delivered it. And then things started to unfold after that. We built an EMR for the University of Chicago Bariatric Center, and started to see the development of my company really excel.
And you see the vision of how important it is to connect the right patients to the right provider, the right doctor, and how, especially when you started out in bariatrics, which we're going to explain first, then we're going to go into now looking at the PCP and then lifestyle medicine, is the three areas that you guys are harnessing and looking at. Specifically enough, I think that what you envisioned is really turned into a way that a a practice, a bariatric surgery practice, can have not just a connection, communication between the doctor and the professional, or the person who wants the surgery or considering the surgery, but also building out for that practice so they become more organized in the areas. So I'm understanding that from these other interviews, but kind of explain what you do for bariatric surgeons and help their practice grow, because Pronex doesn't just, it's not just something that, puts people together. It helps grow a practice. It helps get the right patients on board and make them and provide the best healthcare solution for them.
Absolutely correct. So, because of the complexity that's involved, now I really, when I first started this, I had been meeting with a university in Chicago, their bariatric department, and building an EMR for them. And I didn't really know at the time, all that's involved. And as I started to get into it deeper and deeper, I realized there's a lot of complexity here, and it was too late to turn back. I had to continue to go through. But if you ask me, Fred, what does your company do for bariatric surgical practices specifically? We help to, by connecting to all of their digital front doors, we help to engage that patient and to manage that patient through the continuum of care that helps you increase surgery conversions. Nobody gets lost or dropped through the cracks. Typically, if I ask a surgical practice, how many visits did you have to your website? They can tell me. How many of those turned into surgeries? They can tell me. But what they don't know, in many cases, is how many of them never made it to surgery and for what reasons. You go to an area of our application and you click a button and you see that page. And you'll know exactly what the reasons are why they never made it to surgery. They didn't complete this form, they didn't do this, they weren't compliant to this request, whatever the case is. We help them to understand that. So now they can deploy resources to reconnect and to nurture that opportunity. Oh, by the way, it costs them a lot of money to bring that person to the top of the funnel. And if they fall through the cracks and they have no way to manage it other than Excel spreadsheets, then you lose that. That's money right out the door. So understanding the complexity and the movement of that patient from the moment that they put in information to the intake and registration process, evaluation, pre-surgery, post-surgery, and then ongoing monitoring, there's a lot of steps that are involved in that.
Yeah, and you've just named them all, that we could probably have just a conversation on how important is, with HIPAA, the doctor-patient relationship. A lot of patients are not going to be willing to go ahead and book that appointment if they don't get to speak to a doctor. And a lot of times, or reminders or different things, and then that surgery never happens, that appointment never happens. And as I was learning from your colleagues, a lot of times a practice, it slips through the cracks. They're not organized. They don't have everything electronically put together. They don't know the potential patients that are looking for bariatric surgery. Once they visited their practice to get that consult, there's no follow-up. It has to be done in so many ways that are sometimes not HIPAA compliant, where that practice could get in trouble. So you bring all of it together in a way that's electronically done so that the surgery can be the bariatric surgeon's practice can be run such in a more organized way, more profitability, and the ability for providing the best patient care. That's the bariatric way that you're doing things, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And here's another way to look at it. Many of the healthcare professionals are really in this because they're passionate about the health. Well, there's the health side, there is the business side, and then there is the appropriate care, timely care for the patient. And that's just a small part of the symphony that begins to take place in any environment. So if you're not on the top of your game, and all it does is just take some frustration, can't get through the phone line, can't get a response back to me, that's all it takes. They're going to start and they're going to do a search and they're going to go ahead down the street and you lose that opportunity. And with a lot of what's happening in the marketplace, a lot of practices just can't afford to do that. So you want to be on top of your game. Now, here's another interesting insight. I respect, highly respect the EMR companies, and they stay in their space. They'll go ahead and start to develop patient relationship management tools to a certain extent. But as I had mentioned on the very beginning of this podcast, there's a lot of complexity. So do you want to go ahead and build that patient relationship management system? Or do you want to go ahead and partner with somebody that already has that level of understanding and capabilities? And so that's a choice. That's a business choice. And rarely will we get knocked out because the EMR company does what we do. They'll do some of the things, but as you go into very complex environments, you realize maybe we're better off partnering with a company like Pronex and bringing this value to our existing customers. And that's been we've been very successful at that.
And so you're an EMR on steroids, but define EMR, because our audience that are listening right now live on LinkedIn or all the different channels, and then finally on radio and then podcasting. What is an EMR for people that are not familiar with it?
So an EMR is a electronic medical record, or EHR, which is an electronic health record. And it is the system that allows the clinic, any kind of clinic, be it bariatric surgeons, primary care physicians, coaching, it allows them to capture data about all of the details of the patient. It allows you to bring in test results. It allows you to share test results. It allows you to communicate by bringing the patient into the specific portal of the EMR company. Okay, so there's a lot of steps in that. And what we do, although we have an EMR, we decided to be very much like in corporate America, a CRM tool. We are a patient relationship management tool, because a lot of those tasks that are done by the staff in the clinic and that patient, you don't find the functionality in the EMR. However, we are also very interoperable friendly with any EMR, as long as they provide an API and the agreement between the clinic and the EMR company is set. We're very interoperable friendly. And so what we do is we bring additional tools to your EMR so that you could be extremely efficient and continue to improve on the engagement with the patient.
Now you think about, so you talked about the EMR as CRM. A CRM, I know you don't mention that in the medical world, but just for me as a business guy, understanding it, a lot of bariatric surgeries, or if it's a smaller practice, especially we're going to go into another area, is the PCP. They don't do the greatest job possible of their leads. So this is a marketing tool as well, because you're going to be able to send it out to specific places. It's going to be a way of utilizing your current website to connect those patient to the potential opportunities. So you are not just an EMR and a CRM, but you're also helping in the process of making sure that these patients end up becoming patients of yours. And
Absolutely. So there is a process, and I often open up my demos with a slide that spells all this out. And so if you can take and imagine for a moment a funnel, and you can imagine what's needed, you'll have some marketing companies that'll bring individuals to the top of the funnel, and you'll have internal marketing that may be happening, and you'll have referral sources, which we also have a solution for that. And you'll have ways to grab the attention of individuals, or to bring an individual to your top of the funnel and then bring them into the system. Here's the key. How do I manage that patient from the moment that they step into my system? How do I manage them effectively so they don't get irritated, so my staff doesn't get overburdened, and so I know and can predict what my revenue is going to be based on what's the activity that's happening in the pipeline. I won't refer to the surgical pipeline, but any pipeline. You have patients in the pipeline, and then you have peer-to-peer meetings. So being able to collect that data and then analyzing that data at any given moment at the click of a mouse, bring up the report. You need to know what's going on with the entire population that you're serving. And those analytics are critically important, not only to driving more value-based medicine, but also to help the practice make better business decisions. There is nothing, if you filled out any information whatsoever in our system, there is nothing that you can't get a report on. We have
Wow.
such a robust area of reporting functionality for the surgeons, for the advocates, for the marketing department, for the financial department. I have yet to see one other patient relationship management system have the kind of robust functionality. Now, couple that with a rules engine that allows you to do things automatically. Then bring in the introduction of AI, which we have, into the system that will take some of the burden off your shoulders to answer questions and to address concerns of the patient to a certain extent. It's, you know, you have to qualify what you're answering, you know. So they're not giving it medical advice at the risk of some kind of legal case. But my
Right. I
point
got it.
is that, you know, seeing that happen.
All right. So we're going to go from right there very quickly into two quick things because we've had the experts talk about it. You really explained this so well, Fred, after learning what I've learned so far. PCPs, you do that for primary care physicians as well,
We
provide that
do.
service. Okay. So for groups that have big practices or smaller practices, they're looking at the same thing because every one of them is dealing with that same problem of when they have the patient, how to maintain that patient. So they're going for a 6 month. I mean, they're going every year for their checkup. Are they getting the specific tests needed? All those different things. But let's just really touch upon an area that people haven't been educated on that now Pronex is doing, and that's lifestyle medicine. Because we're going to definitely have you back. We're going to be doing another podcast soon, but just really touch upon why Pronex now is in the business of helping lifestyle medicine doctors.
Absolutely. So for many years, I was recommended to go to lifestyle medicine professionals and show them what we had. And I was laser-like focused on the bariatric surgical space and also in primary care physicians to help them manage the patient population who was dealing with obesity and chronic disease. And there is a lot of complexity in those two areas of illness, and there's a lot of connectivity to the staff. Food is medicine. It's no secret, and it takes a special individual that is skilled in understanding how that works in a person's life and how you have to know. It's behavioral change has never been easy. It takes a lot of work, a lot of coaching, and if you're willing to make the commitment and you're willing to adapt to something different, you might find better results and find better health and be a much happier person. So we partnered with one of our, who's now part of the team, Adipa Dukushmak, who's been a registered dietitian for many years, over a decade and a half, and is a passionate registered dietitian who also understands technology. And when we met, she realized that we had what she's been dreaming about. And so we've made a significant investment into providing the one-stop shop lifestyle medicine platform that adheres to the principles and the doctrine, if you will, of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine Professionals, the 6 pillars, which is absolutely critical. And how do you track all of that? Within the lifestyle medicine community, there are individuals that are getting board certified, that are getting certified as lifestyle medicine professionals, but they also are medical doctors. They're also been in practice as a internist or a primary care physician who has researched and seen the significant improvements in people's lives as a result of adapting food as medicine. And so being able to provide a one-stop shop application for them that has EMR functionality and that has the 6 pillars, that has all of what's needed in terms of a lifestyle medicine professional. We bring the technology so they can do their work and engage that patient in a much more easier way and simpler way. Wait till when you get a chance to interview Deepa. She has a very stringent workflow that allows her to understand the ethnicity of each individual and bring that individual through the continuum of care. But she also understands the complexity of it, how to nurture that. And one of the statements she always makes is, I get in the water, I get in the river with them, because that takes a lot of nudging. And sometimes you got to hold the hand of that individual and bring them through, a certain plateau and then continue to move on. But that's the passion she has, and that's the commitment she has to her patient population.
Fantastic. We look forward to having more information on that, bringing the whole team together. Fred, where's the best place people can learn more about Pronex? Where can they go?
www.pronexinc, PRONEXINC, all one word.com.
All right.
Or call me.
All right. Where can we call them? We'll have
847-726-7718. I'm so proud to be able to put my number up there. If you want to call me on my corporate line, call me on the corporate line. You want to call me on my cell phone? I don't know that I'll get to you right away, but you could at least have the phone number and call me. Now everything is an email. You got to wait for days for somebody to get a hold of you.
Exactly. All right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show.